Hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the art of the Acropolis. The term Acropolis comes from the words Acra and polis in ancient Greek, which means high city or the highest point of a city. The Acropolis is in the center of the town Athens, 156 meters above the level of the sea. The Acropolis is a place of worship to the Virgin Athena, which is the goddess of fertility and wisdom. In 490 before Christus began the construction of the first temple. It was destroyed 10 years later at the same time that the Athens will be by the Persians. The constructions on the Acropolis continued after the death of Pericles and ended in 404 before Christus. The four buildings that today are found on the Acropolis, which are all built with marble of exceptional quality, will greatly influence the architecture throughout the Western world. During the Byzantine years, the Parthenon became an Orthodox church in which they worshipped Saint Sophia, and Sophia means wisdom, and not Athena anymore. The Acropolis became later a fortress and the Parthenon a Catholic church. In the 15th century, when the Turks invaded Greece, the Parthenon was converted into a mosque. In 1687, Athens is partially destroyed when the Venetians surrounded the town and bombarded the Parthenon, which the Turks had filled with explosive powder. From 1833 to today, the Acropolis will remain in the hands of Greece. The Parthenon. This is the greatest masterpiece of the classical art and the first building of ancient times built entirely of marble. It's also the monument the most copied in the world that became a model for buildings like the National Assembly in Paris or the US Supreme Court. In the construction of the Parthenon, no right angles was used. The structure is made up of no straight lines. The ancient Greeks played on perspective effects, making them convex lines to achieve the perfect harmony to the eye. The tens of thousands of pieces of marble were assembled a tenth of a millimeter with remarkable accuracy that still amazes archaeologists today. The entire construction weighs 20,000 tons, and the Parthenon is measuring 70 meters long and 31 meters wide. It was built in only 9 years. Inside the enclosure was the Parthenon frieze, a work of the sculptor Phidias. This frieze, measuring 160 meters long, was willing to 11 meters high and represented some 360 figures carved in low relief. She is now located in the British Museum. It is also Phidias who sculpted the statue of Athena Parthenos, which stood in the center of the building. The restoration of the Parthenon began 30 years ago. It will certainly be completed within 10 years. The great difficulty of archaeologists and architects is to replicate the missing pieces, and especially to find exactly where they should be placed. Each block is unique and cannot be substituted by another. The Temple of Athena Nike. This miniature building was constructed by the architect Callicrates, fully constructed of Pentelic marble. On the top of a high tower, which is the Pyrgos, the temple marks the entrance to the Acropolis. The temple, which is made on an Ionic style, consists of a single room that inhabited the wooden statue of worship. This temple is also called Temple of the Wingless Victory, without wings since the statue was not represented with wings. The prosthesis of the Caryatids. This portal is the most original design of the Erechtheion, which is a building in the Acropolis. 6 statues of young girls are used as support. They are positioned straight and are dressed in long Ionian tunics. The Athena statue. Athena Promachos is the first Athenian statue, the first large colossal statue of Phidias, which is 9 meters high. Spear in arm, dominating the Acropolis, Athens, and the board of Piraeus, by which foreigners came from the sea and entered the Attic capital. Chryselephantian statue of Athena Parthenos. The Parthenon housed the statue of Athena Parthenos, which is Athena as a young girl. This measured 16 meters and was anamorphic, which means that the head was proportionally greater than the feet. Athena Parthenos was a sculpture made of gold and ivory made by Phidias. A number of works are inspired by the original. The divinity is holding a weapon which shows the victory in her right hand. Athena is the patron goddess of Athens, and the statue made in her honor is considered as one of the greatest achievements of Phidias. Phidias began his work around 447 before Christus. The statue was damaged by fire towards 165 before Christus, but were restored afterwards. The wooden statue of Athena will supposedly fell from the sky, and the wooden statue of Athena was in the temple of Athena Nike and was honored every day. The Propylae. The Propylae is a building of the Doric order with few Ionic columns supporting the roof of the central wing. It is another entrance of Acropolis, which is really impressive. As conclusion, there is a lot of different kind of buildings that together forms the Acropolis. Each one is as important than the other one and as beautiful as the other one. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for listening.